Good day everyone. Again, this is Sir Hill Bansuela Jr. from STOQC New Era High School. So welcome to our Math Kwentuhan with Sir G. Another grade 10 lesson to be discussed. So without further ado, join me. Alright. So just like our past video lesson discussed, so we start our discussion by defining and identifying all our lesson goals or objectives. For our objective number 1, at the end of this lesson, you, the listeners and students, should be able to define and illustrate a geometric series, followed by you are able to differentiate a finite and infinite geometric series. Then for number 3, state the formula and identify each terms in the formula. So not just stating the formula, no? So you have to identify and how to use each particular terms in the formula. And for number 4, of course, you will be able to solve problems involving finite geometric series in this case. Alright? Okay, and here are our goals. So let's dig in. So let's define the term geometric series. So a geometric series is the sum of the terms of a geometric sequence. If the number of terms in geometric sequence is finite, the sum of terms is called a finite geometric series. If not, then it is infinite. So for recall, finite series or sequence are those sequence with a boundary. Alright? There's an ending. Then, infinite doesn't have. Simple as that. Okay? So, for instance, ano may finite? For recall, we talk about the vowels in the English alphabet. So, we only have A, E, I, O, U. So, we only have 5 elements in a set of vowels. So, that is a particular example of a finite sequence. Alright? So, we have a boundary or ending. When we talk about infinite series or sequence, so those sequence without a boundary, just like counting stars in the sky. So those are infinite one, no? Alright. So, but since we are in geometric series, so all sequences here must have a common ratio. Alright? So that's the difference between an arithmetic sequence and geometric sequence, no? So in arithmetic sequence, for recall, we have a common difference. So while dealing with geometric sequence or series, we have a common ratio naman, na? Okay, so I hope that recall is okay to you. So let's state our formula. So for the formula, so we have S sub n equals to a sub 1 times a quantity of 1 minus r raised to n divided by 1 minus r, where S sub n is the sum of the finite series, a sub 1 is the first term of the series, r is the common ratio, where r should not be equal to 1, and n is the number of terms, and of course 1 is a constant. Again, the sum of the finite series is always equal to the first term times the quantity of 1 minus the common ratio raised to the number of terms divided by 1 minus the common ratio. Again, this is the formula for a finite or for the sum of finite series. Okay? Because there is another formula for the sum of infinite geometric series. Okay? So, let's have some sample problems. For problem number 1, here we go. So, find the sum of the first 8 terms of the sequence 3, 6, 12, and 24. Again, find the sum of the first 8 terms of the sequence 3, 6, 12, and 24. So after reading the problem, so we have to digest, we have to understand what the problem tells us. So let's get all the given. So on the first statement, we are asked to find the sum. So meaning, S sub n is missing. Since the sum, so what is asked is the sum. No? And another point that we can get here. So we have 8 terms all in this particular problem. So therefore, our n is equal to 8. Then, we can also recognize our first term, which is 3. Alright, so as you can see, we have 3, 6, 12, and 24. So our first term, or a sub 1, is 3. And we are now, we can now get the common ratio, no? By dividing the right number towards to its left until we end up to the first term. So let's do that. 24 divided by 12, that is equal to 2. 12 divided by 6, again that is equal to 2. Then 6 by 3, again that is equal to 2. So we can declare now that our common ratio in this particular problem is 2. So let's write all the given for the solution. So our first term is 3, just like what we saw on the problem. And we had 8 terms according to the problem. And of course, our common ratio is 2. Okay? And for our formula, so let's state our formula that the sum of a finite series is always equal to the first term times a quantity of 1 minus the common ratio raised to the number of terms divided by 1 minus r. So you have to take note of the meaning of those elements in our formula. Now, after doing so, we are now going to plug in each given to the formula. So we simply substitute all the given to your formula. So let's plug in, and we're going to have this one. And since our n is equal to 8, so we change all n by 8. That's why s sub n a while ago will turn into s sub 8 this time. Then of course, your a sub 1 or first term is equal to 3. That's why we substitute a sub 1 by 3. Then multiply to 1. Since 1 is a constant minus the common ratio is 2. So we replace r by 2. And your n is 8. So that's why we arrive at 2 raised to 8 divided by 1 minus r. And your r is 2. So that's why we substitute r by 2. Then therefore, we arrive at s sub 8 equals to 3 multiply to 1 minus 2 raised to 8 divided by 1 minus 2. Then let's simplify. So you can use your scientific calculator to simplify 2 raised to 8, and the result is 256. So as you can see, so if you press your calculator 2 and you have exponent 8, so that is equal to 256. And of course, 1 minus 2, that's equivalent to negative 1. Then let's simplify 1 minus 256, and that is negative 255. So again, we arrive at s sub 8 equals to 3 times negative 255 divided by negative 1. Then let's simplify 3 times negative 255. Then we will arrive at negative 765 all over negative 1. And of course, simplifying this scenario, negative 765 divided by negative 1 will give us positive 765. And therefore, the sum of the 8 terms of this particular series is 765. So I hope you got that correctly. And if you did not, again, you may pause this video, rewind, rewatch, get your pen and paper, then try to solve on your own, then until you master the skill. Okay, again, mathematics is a pen and paper skill. Okay, again, pause the video, rewind, rewatch. Alright, until you master the skill before you move into our next problem. Okay, alright, so our next problem. The sum of the 6 terms in a geometric sequence is 1092. So what is the first term if the common ratio is 3? Again, the sum of the 6 terms in a geometric sequence is 1092. What is the first term if the common ratio is 3? So let's digest the problem. So the sum of the sixth term is given in this case. So the sum of the six terms according to this problem is 1092. So therefore, S sub 6, so since we have 6 terms, our n is equal to 6. So our S sub n will be replaced by S sub 6, which is equal to 1092. And what is asked in the problem is the first term. We are looking for the first term. So therefore, A sub 1 is question mark in this particular problem. But the common ratio is given, which is equal to 3. Alright, so let's get all those given. So, the given are our S sub 6, or the sum of the 6 series, in this particular series, is 1092. So, therefore, S sub 6 equals 1092. Then R, or our common ratio, is 3, and the number of terms is 6. Again, after getting all this given, we are now ready to state our pattern. So the pattern in this case, since this is a finite sequence, since we have an ending, because it limits to 6 terms only, so this is a finite geometric series, no? So our formula is the sum of the finite series is always equal to the first term multiplied to 1 minus the common ratio raised to the number of terms divided by 1 minus the common ratio. So again, it is better to state our pattern like that, not just like stating that S sub n equals to A sub 1. You know, in some books, they use some letters or different letters, no? Lalo na sa mga international books natin. So, hindi yung first term nila, they did not use A. So, instead, they use letter T or any other letters. So, it is better to know how we identify each particular term on our formula in dealing with the sum of a finite series, no? Kasi nga, these letters are only symbols. It can be replaced by any letters or any particular symbols. It depends on the author, no? So, ang pinaka-importante dito, guys, we know that the sum of the of the finite series is always equal to the first term. So, kahit ano pa yung ilagay nilang variable dyan in replace to A, so, yun pa rin yung first term. Alright? Ayan. And of course, your R, kung palitan man nila ng ibang letter yung R, so siya pa rin yung common ratio natin. Alright? Okay. So, again, since we have all the given, and we have the formula, so our next move is to plug in all these values or given to our formula. Alright? So our S sub 6 will be replaced by 1092 or 1092. Then that is equal to A sub 1. So A sub 1 is missing, no? In this case. So that's why we just wrote A sub 1 there. Alright? So siya yung missing natin. Then we simply bring down 1, then minus. The common ratio is 3. That's why we change R by 3. Then your N is equal to 6. That's why we arrive at 3 raised to 6. And of course, at the denominator part, so we have 1 minus the common ratio. And since your ratio is 3, that's why we arrive at 1 minus 3. So therefore, we have 1092 equals to A sub 1 multiplied to 1 minus 3 raised to 6 divided by 1 minus 3. And again, using your scientific calculator, so let's simplify 3 raised to 6. Then you will arrive at minus 729. Of course, 1 minus 3 is equal to negative 2. Alright? So we simply bring down 1092 and A sub 1. Okay. So in this particular situation, guys, what are we going to do is to multiply negative 2 to 1,092. And we also simplify 1 minus 729, and we will arrive at so that is one particular method can be used. And another one is to simply subtract 1 minus 729 and divide negative 728 to negative 2. So in whatever method you wish to solve this problem, you will arrive on the same answer. So if you wish to multiply negative 2 to 1092, it's okay. Alright? But if you wish to subtract 1 minus 729 and you divide negative 728 to negative 2, will remain the same. Okay? The result will remain the same. Okay? And here we go. So after dividing negative 728 to negative 2, so we will arrive at positive 364. So therefore, our equation tells us that 1092 is equal to a sub 1 multiplied to 364. And our objective in this case is to isolate a sub 1 by eliminating 364 beside it. And how are we going to do that? Okay, so we're going to use division property. Alright, so we have to divide the entire equation by 364. So automatic, if I divide a sub 1 times 364 to another 364, so automatic 364 will be eliminated. So what is left on this side is a sub 1, and on the other side is 1092 divided by 364. And if you're going to press this on your calculator, you will arrive at 3. So therefore, in this particular series, our first term is equal to 3. Alright, so if you have some questions, so you may ask question privately through PM, or if you need to remaster the skill, again, you may always pause this video, rewind, use your pen and paper, solve it for yourself for a couple of times. Again, you will see, you will master the skill immediately, no? Mga 5 times to try this using your pen and paper, and you will not go back here anymore because you master the skill na. Alright? So again, you may pause the video, rewind, then use your pen and paper to solve this before proceeding to the next problem. So yun yung ating method, guys, no? Pen and paper. Again, mathematics, I always reiterate that this is a pen and paper skill. Alright? Okay. So I hope this is very clear. Okay. So those are our exercises. So it's your turn now. So I want you to get your pen and paper and find the indicated sum of the following geometric series or finite geometric series. For number 1, we have 1 plus 4 plus 16. Then find the sum of the 7 terms. Alright? For number 2, we have negative 4, negative 2, 4, negative 8. Then let's find the sum of the 8 terms. For number 3, we have 2, 6, 18. So let's find the sum of the 9 series. Again, for number 4, we have 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus up to the sum of the 7 series. So again, please pause this video for 10 to 15 minutes before playing it again to see the final answer. Again, don't just go into your goal is to get the final answer, no? Pangit yun. So kailangan alam natin how to do it, no? The how is very important. Paano in Filipino. So we have to answer yung paano and how. So that is the goal of education, not to just get the final answer. And you can do that if you use your pen and paper. Again, please pause the video for 10 to 15 minutes before playing it again to get your final answer. Okay. Alright, and your 10 to 15 minutes is done. So let's check your answer if it is correct. Alright, and here are the answer key. Alright, for number 1, the sum is 5,461. For number 2, we have 170. For number 3, we have 19,682. And for number 4, we have 254. So I hope you got all of these. Now, if not, don't be sad. Again, as I reiterate lagi nating reiterate sa atin, guys, please, if you did not get the solution and the final answer correct, you may always rewind the video, rewatch, then use your pen and paper, then resolve. Do this in 5 times, no? You do this 5 times without looking your paper, no? Until the time or the moment that you're not going to look on the solution anymore, then that's it. So you master the skill immediately. Alright? So again, take note, mathematics is a pen and paper skill. Okay? Alright. And of course, ito na naman tayo. So, until our next math kwentuhan, again guys, live your best life. Keep safe. This is Sir Gil Banzuela Jr. of New Year High School saying, see you later. Goodbye.